Carl Larsson was a Swedish painter and interior designer who had a profound influence on Swedish art and design in the late 19th and early 20th centuries. He is best known for his watercolor paintings depicting idyllic family life in his country home, which became synonymous with a distinctly Swedish style of design and living. Larsson's work spanned various mediums, including oils, frescoes, and illustrations, but it was his intimate portrayals of domestic scenes that captured the hearts of the Swedish public and eventually gained him international recognition. Born into poverty in Stockholm, Larsson's journey to becoming one of Sweden's most beloved artists was marked by hardship and perseverance. His talent for art was recognized early, leading him to study at the Royal Swedish Academy of Arts. After struggling in his early career, Larsson found both personal happiness and artistic inspiration through his marriage to artist Karin Bergöö and their life together at their home, Lilla Hittnes, in Sundborn. Larsson's artistic style evolved from academic painting to a more personal, light-filled approach that combined elements of the arts and crafts movement with traditional Swedish folk art. His illustrations and paintings of his family life, published in books such as Ett hem, a home, not only showcased his artistic talents, but also presented an idealized vision of Swedish domestic life that resonated deeply with the public. Throughout his career, Larsson completed numerous public commissions, including frescoes for schools, museums, and other institutions. Despite facing some controversy, particularly regarding his unfinished frescoes for the National Museum in Stockholm, Larsson remained a popular and influential figure in Swedish art until his death in 1919. Carl Larsson's legacy extends far beyond his paintings. His vision of home life and interior design has had a lasting impact on Swedish culture and continues to influence modern Scandinavian design aesthetics. Today, his home in Sunborn is a museum preserving the vibrant, personal style that made Larsson a household name in Sweden and an internationally recognized artist. Carl Larsson was born on May 28, 1853, in Gamla stan, the old town of Stockholm, Sweden. His childhood was marked by extreme poverty and hardship. His father, Olof Larsson, was a casual laborer who struggled with alcoholism, while his mother, Kristina Larsson, worked hard as a laundress to support the family. Carl had an older brother, Johan, who died at a young age, leaving Carl as the only surviving child. Despite the challenging circumstances, young Carl showed an early aptitude for art. His artistic talent was first recognized by his schoolteacher at the school for poor children he attended. Encouraged by this recognition, Larsson began to nurture his artistic skills. At the age of 13, his teacher at the school for poor children recommended him to the Principskola of the Royal Swedish Academy of Arts. This opportunity marked a turning point in Larsson's life. He was accepted into the preparatory school of the Royal Swedish Academy of Arts at the age of 15. During his time at the academy, Larsson faced numerous challenges. He struggled financially, often going hungry and wearing worn-out clothes. However, his talent and determination shone through. He worked as an illustrator for the humorous paper Kasper and later for Ny Illustrerad Tidning to support himself during his studies. In 1869, at the age of 16, Larsson was promoted to the Antique School of the same academy. Here, he became a central figure among other students and was even elected as the group's president. Despite his popularity among peers, Larsson's relationship with the teachers at the academy was often strained. He found their teaching methods rigid and outdated, which would later influence his own approach to art. After completing his studies at the Royal Swedish Academy of Arts, Larsson struggled to establish himself as an artist. He worked mainly as an illustrator for magazines and books, but his ultimate goal was to become a successful history painter, which was considered the most prestigious form of painting at the time. In 1877, Larsson moved to Paris, hoping to advance his career in the art capital of Europe. However, his initial years in Paris were filled with disappointment and hardship. He found little success with his historical paintings and continued to support himself through illustration work. During this period, Larsson fell into a deep depression. The struggle to gain recognition as a serious artist, combined with financial difficulties, took a toll on his mental health. At one point, he even contemplated suicide. a dark episode that he later recounted in his autobiography. A turning point came in 1882, when Larsson moved to the Scandinavian artists' colony in Grez-sur-Loing, a small village outside Paris. It was here that he encountered plein-air painting and began to move away from the dark, academic style he had been pursuing. The bright light and rural setting of Grez-sur-Loing inspired Larsson to experiment with watercolors, a medium that would become central to his most famous works. In Grez-sur-Loing, Larsson met fellow Swedish artist Karin Bergöö. Their meeting proved to be a pivotal moment both personally and professionally. The couple married in 1883, marking the beginning of a lifelong partnership that would profoundly influence Larsson's art and life. Karin, herself a talented artist, became Carl's muse and collaborator. She encouraged his shift towards a lighter, more intimate style of painting. Under her influence, Larsson began to focus more on scenes of daily life and nature, moving away from his earlier ambitions of historical painting. In 1885, the couple's first child, Suzanne, was born. This event marked the beginning of what would become one of the central themes in Larsson's work, family life. His paintings of Karin and their children would later become his most beloved and recognized works. The late 1880s saw Larsson's first major successes as an artist. In 1886, he won a medal at the Paris Salon for his watercolor Octobre, which depicted Karin with their daughter Suzanne. This recognition marked a turning point in his career, bringing him critical acclaim and financial stability. In 1888, Karin's father gifted the couple a small house named Lilla-Hyttnäs in the village of Sundborn, Dalarna. This house, which the Larssons gradually expanded and decorated over the years, would become the setting for many of Carl's most famous paintings and a symbol of his artistic vision. The move to Sundborn marked the beginning of the most productive and successful period of Larsson's career. The house and its surroundings became the primary subject of his art, with Larsson meticulously documenting the daily life of his growing family and the interiors of their home. Larsson and Karin worked together to transform Lilla-Hyttnäs into a work of art in itself. They designed and crafted much of the furniture and decorations, creating a unique style that blended traditional Swedish folk art with modern design principles. This style, characterized by light colors, bold patterns, and a focus on functionality and comfort, would come to be seen as quintessentially Swedish. During this period, Larsson produced some of his most famous works, including the watercolor series that would be published as books: Et Hem, A Home, in 1899, Larssons, The Larssons, in 1902, and Åt Solsidan, On the Sunny Side, in 1910. These books, filled with intimate portrayals of the Larsson family and their home, were immensely popular both in Sweden and internationally. The paintings from this period showcase Larsson's mature style. Bright, airy watercolors with clean lines and a focus on capturing moments of domestic bliss. Scenes of children playing, family meals, and quiet moments in the garden became his trademark. These works not only demonstrated Larsson's technical skill, but also presented an idealized vision of Swedish family life that resonated deeply with the public. In addition to his domestic scenes, Larsson continued to accept public commissions during this time. He completed frescoes for several schools and other public buildings, including the National Museum in Stockholm. These larger works allowed him to showcase his skills in different mediums and on a grander scale. Larsson's fame grew steadily during these years. He held successful exhibitions in Sweden and abroad, and his books were translated into multiple languages. By the early 1900s, he was one of the most famous artists in Sweden and was gaining recognition internationally. The last decade of Larsson's life was marked by both continued success and some controversy. He remained a popular figure in Sweden, but his relationship with the art establishment became increasingly strained. One of the most significant projects of Larsson's later years was a series of large frescoes for the main staircase of the National Museum in Stockholm. This project, which he began in 1896, became a source of great frustration for Larsson. Disputes with the museum's leadership over the content and style of the frescoes led to delays and revisions. The project was never fully completed in Larsson's lifetime, and it remains a point of controversy in discussions of his career. Despite these challenges, Larsson continued to paint and write. In 1931, his posthumously published autobiography, Jag, I, provided insights into his life and artistic philosophy. The book also revealed some of the inner struggles and insecurities that lay beneath Larsson's public image of domestic contentment. Carl Larsson died on January 22, 1919, at the age of 65. His death was mourned throughout Sweden, and he was hailed as one of the country's greatest artists. Larsson's legacy extends far beyond his paintings. His vision of home life and interior design, as portrayed in his books and paintings, had a profound impact on Swedish culture. The Larsson style became synonymous with a certain ideal of Swedish living, bright, comfortable, and family-centered. This influence can still be seen in modern Scandinavian design. Today, the Larsson home in Sundborn is a museum, preserved as it was during the artist's lifetime. It attracts thousands of visitors each year who come to see the real-life setting of Larsson's famous paintings. Larsson's artistic style evolved significantly over the course of his career. His early work was heavily influenced by the academic tradition he studied at the Royal Swedish Academy of Arts. However, his experiences in France, particularly in Grez-sur-Loing, led him to adopt a lighter, more naturalistic approach. The influence of Japanese art can be seen in Larsson's use of bold outlines and flat areas of color. He was also inspired by the arts and crafts movement, which emphasized handcrafted objects and a return to simpler, more functional design. Larsson worked in various mediums throughout his career, including oils, watercolors, and frescoes. However, it was his watercolors that became his most distinctive and beloved works. He developed a unique technique that combined the transparency of watercolors with the bold lines of drawing, creating a style that was both detailed and fresh. In terms of subject matter, Larsson is best known for his depictions of domestic life. However, he also produced landscapes, portraits, and historical and allegorical scenes. His public commissions often featured more complex, symbolic compositions. Carl Larsson's impact on Swedish culture cannot be overstated. His idealized depictions of family life and home interiors became a model for middle-class Swedish households. The bright colors, functional design, and emphasis on comfort that characterized the Larsson home influenced Swedish interior design for generations. Moreover, Larsson's work helped to shape the Swedish national identity at a time when the country was undergoing rapid industrialization and social change. His paintings presented a vision of Sweden that was both modern and rooted in tradition, emphasizing values of family, nature, and simplicity. Internationally, Larsson's work contributed to the growing recognition of Scandinavian design and aesthetics. His books were widely translated and helped to popularize Swedish art and culture abroad. While Larsson was enormously popular with the general public, his relationship with art critics and the academic establishment was often contentious. Some critics dismissed his domestic scenes as sentimental or lacking in artistic merit. Others, however, praised his technical skill and his ability to capture light and atmosphere. The unfinished frescoes at the National Museum in Stockholm remain a subject of debate. Some view them as a masterpiece unfairly rejected by conservative critics, while others see them as evidence of Larsson's limitations as a monumental painter. In recent years, there has been renewed scholarly interest in Larsson's work, with critics and historians reassessing his place in the canon of European art. While debates continue, his enduring popularity and influence on Swedish culture are undeniable. Carl Larsson's life and work represent a unique intersection of personal vision, cultural zeitgeist, and artistic skill. From his humble beginnings in Stockholm to his status as one of Sweden's most beloved artists, Larsson's journey reflects the social and artistic changes of his time. His paintings continue to captivate viewers with their warmth, intimacy, and technical brilliance. More than just beautiful images, they offer a window into a particular moment in Swedish history and a vision of domestic life that continues to resonate today. Whether viewed as a painter, an illustrator, a designer, or a chronicler of Swedish life, Carl Larsson remains a significant figure in the history of European art. His legacy lives on not only in museums and art books, but in the very way people think about home, family, and the art of everyday life.